starters.
And obviously the obvious ones of Joe Andreessen, Tyrell Shavers, like players that we came to know more at training camp. My last one, things that we've learned from training camp that we didn't already know. Jugs machines are very, very sturdy.
Tell them what you told us earlier today.
I don't think my face is right. I still think.
Well, first of all, we're going to clip that.
That's the open.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
Welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. The gang is all here. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. It is so good to see both of you here.
Got the team together.
I've got friends again.
No, I'm kidding. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't find that funny.
No, he didn't at all.
Are you my brother?
Thought we were friends here.
Yeah.
We are friends. Okay. So today we're going to be talking a little bit. I love this topic. What do we know now that we did not know before the start of Bills training camp? I think this is a really interesting discussion because we are nearing the end of summer in terms of August. Feels like fall already. Let's be real with the weather. We're getting ready for the start of the regular season. Mike, what comes to mind when I say that? What do we know now that we didn't know before the start of camp?
All right. In a general sense, I would say what we don't know is how they're going to make this offense work.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And defensively, we don't know because who's going to be on the field for the defense, and mostly with some of the injuries. But oddly, I always have faith that they'll figure out the defense.
I always have faith in the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's...
I
Because
always think they'll
there.
figure it out. And again, the loss of Milano sucks, but in the weird way, they're used to life without Milano. This is nothing that they unfortunately haven't had to deal with before.
It's a bit reminiscent of Trey White because obviously he had the really bad ACL injury. He was out and then coming back with the Achilles. I agree. It's a detrimental loss to this Bills team. But like you said, Dan, they have been in this spot before. So there is that, if you want to look at the upside in the situation.
The silver lining.
The silver lining is the perfect phrase.
Look at this. We're like 2 minutes into this podcast and Jenna's already agreed with me.
Wow. It's a new trend.
And you haven't...
Distance makes...
I was literally about to say, you have not interrupted me.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder. So some time apart and Jenna now we're on the same page.
Yes.
I think
that
works.
For now. It's 2 minutes in, so.
But when I say that about, listen, the injuries are an issue, especially for the beginning of the year. And the unfortunate thing is the guys who have been banged up and are now trying to come back just don't have any reps with this unit. We're certainly talking about the safeties. So I think that's an issue because it's not just replacing Poyer and Hyde, which we knew that when the offseason started. That's where they were. It's like, all right, they have these guys, and we talked about who was going to start and where everybody was, and all of a sudden you're going, man, Edwards hasn't played, and Bishop hasn't played.
Yeah.
It's trending in the right direction, which is good, but that's the part, too, that we didn't learn a lot about them during this period of time, and they're going to be, they're going to play. Both of them are going to play.
Right. At this point, they just need bodies at safety, especially as we record this on the 22nd. We know the starters aren't going to play. So we're trying to, I was saying after Pittsburgh, like I want to see what we don't know still is the questions we had with the wide receivers. I still don't think any of them are answered because of Mitch Trubisky didn't give us an evaluation of that on top of the fact of Josh threw 3 passes all preseason.
Yeah. It's hard to evaluate in the preseason games, I would say, because of how limited we've seen in terms of Josh Allen, what Mitch was not, frankly, able to do. But I ask now what we've seen at practices in camp.
I don't know.
Okay.
And I understand we're not game planning in the preseason. Like I get that, but I just still wanted to see some rhythm. I wanted to see some continuity. Even the offensive line. I'm not even critical of the way the offensive line has performed when it's like Mitch is holding on to the ball forever. Like I really don't know what we still have with this offense. And not that I was going to overreact. I swear I wasn't one way or another. I just wanted to see it. And I get why you're not playing the starters in the third preseason game. That's not what my point is. It's the point of you had 2 other games that you didn't get to see what I think you were hoping to see. Sean McDermott said he wanted the starters to play in that first preseason game because of the new faces. That was baked into his decision-making. And I feel like if he wanted it then, we still don't know what it is now.
I tried to ask Joe Brady about what do they miss out by not playing in the games? Because they do replicate a lot of what they want in practice.
Right.
It is competitive. It does not prevent injuries, but it certainly greatly reduces the chance of an injury when you're doing it in practice as opposed to even a preseason game. And he never really said what they don't get. He talked more about what they do, and he talked about guys prepping and getting ready. And I hear all of that. I'm with you on some of that with this team because this is not the regular wide receivers there. These are guys who have not been part of it. But when we do watch practice, I would say this. What I've learned about the offense is some we already knew. Kincaid's really good.
Yeah.
Shakir's really good.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Shakir, I think, is going to be better than I was anticipating him being.
I would agree with that.
The rest of them, listen, Keon is, look at her. Credit to me.
Credit to me.
By the way, that's a great comment when people even some of my tweets, people are like, credit to you. That's a good one.
So I think about the 2 guys that we knew the most about, I think we feel even better about them.
Yes, I do.
In terms of Kincaid and Shakir.
Yeah, that just doesn't make me feel any better about the crap we didn't know.
Well, yeah, because we haven't, listen, Keon, I went with listen. It's the word I'm trying
and
to.
Again.
Interesting.
Hey, we're, what is it, 7 minutes into this one? I haven't said anybody's hair's on fire. so we got that going on
well,
so
you
far.
just said it.
There
now,
we go.
So.
Proud of you.
I have been impressed by Keon. I like the way he works. We did a story with him yesterday that would be Tuesday. And he says, I've always been all about football. He has.
Yeah.
But he had fun with a lot of the stuff in the beginning. That seems to be part of his personality.
Yeah.
But he has been a serious guy. And I think that's the right approach to take. He's got a lot to learn.
Especially with the media.
Yes. But I see him he dances a little. I saw you got some shots a little. But he's not.
Great.
He is pretty buttoned up, I'd say, at practice.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot to learn. I think his expectations for himself are high. I asked him about, do you pay attention to all the other wide receivers? Now, of course, he's going to say, no, those guys are where they are and all. But come on, if you were drafted where he was, you are looking at all those guys who were picked ahead of you. You want to, I would think, naturally you would want to do that. But I've been impressed by his style of work and by what we've seen on the field, at least in practice, not as much in the games.
I think that's one of the things that I feel more confident in. Before the start of camp, I was curious, all right, Keon is their first pick this year. We talked a lot about the cookies and the Macy's jacket and that huge personality. What will he be like now when it's shifting into, it's the start of the season, it's the start of training camp, all that stuff. I've been impressed with how much of a rookie he is. And I mean that in a good way, of him being like, I have to get my shit together. I need to know what I'm doing. I need to know the playbook. I need to be studying. I need to be taking things seriously. I need to be talking to the veterans. And I feel like I've seen him, and Josh Allen has even talked about, he's a guy that's studying all the time. He's a guy that's and I like that. I didn't know what we would see from that perspective because there was so much, and we loved it. I mean, as media members, it was like, oh my God, this
personality.
This is great. And then for us, it's not as great because he's not as boisterous and not quite as fun and
he's boring.
He is boring
to us, but
in terms
that's
of
fine.
Covering him media wise, viral moments, all that stuff. But the focus changed, and I appreciate that because the focus has got to be where it needs to be.
Yeah, I think, and that's what should be the case. Like it is fun.
Yeah.
You could have preseason. Josh can go on podcasts during the offseason and say he's hanging out and he likes a Zin citrus, like all of that stuff. And then it's time to buckle down. Like I understand both of those sides.
Yeah.
But it's also important for Keon Coleman, who's never stepped foot on an NFL field, because sometimes these rookies come in and while they want to work, they really don't know what it takes to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can tell it takes a veteran sort of reining him in a little bit, like, hey, Rook, like, you got to be doing this, you got to be doing that. Nothing terrible, but like, I haven't heard any of that.
Yeah.
I do believe that's who he is. Now, we talked about this the other day. Now he has to take this onto the field in a game where Josh Allen is looking at you. I saw this interview with Tom Brady. Did you guys say it? It was on, I can't remember whose podcast it was or whose interview it was. Anyhow, Brady was talking about guys playing with him. And he would see guys who were not prepared during the game that were playing on his team.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked how he handled it. And he's just like, I look over, I see this guy looks confused. He's waving to the sidelines. And he goes, did you get him out of the game? And he goes, no, I just went to the coach and said, he's not ready. You put him out on the field. I'm not throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
Because he's not ready to play for us. Now, that's the way Brady would handle it. But honestly, I think Josh will handle it that way too, maybe a little differently. If he doesn't believe his receiver is ready, he's not going to get the football.
Yeah.
Keon looks like he will be ready. Now then the question is, can he take that and produce on the field?
Something I didn't expect if we're, finishing the offense. I didn't expect Matt Collins, I think, to have the impact he's going to have in the passing game.
I agree.
I think he is going to be whereas we talked about a fifth wide receiver special teamer, I think they're going to give him a lot of shots to make plays down the field. Not just, it was like, oh, he's going to be the Gabe Davis that could help in the run game and things like that. I think he's got a little bit more to his game than I thought of as special teamer that plays wide receiver. I think he's much more a wide receiver that is also a damn good special teamer. And those are the type of guys that you need. It's great to say this guy's a special teamer, but he's a liability at his other position. This is a guy that I don't think is at any, I think he really is. I think if they line up tomorrow, obviously we know the injuries that are week to week with MVS and Curtis Samuel. I can see them lining up with Keon, Mac, and then maybe they even go 2 tight end set. And I would say, that's how they're going to roll out play number 1, week 1.
Yeah, I would agree. A pleasant surprise. I was underestimating the impact.
That's 2 agrees.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to stop.
Also, I think he's taken, you're going to see him that maybe eventually Keon gets more of those snaps.
Yeah.
We'll see how much on the outside, because I think Shakir's going to spend some time on the outside too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they early in the year may feel comfortable with Mac out there.
I agree.
And with MVS being injured and not really being as much of maybe what they thought, at least early in the year, we'll see how his health is. I think Matt Collins is going to get those opportunities, and you never know. It doesn't mean he's going to be a 80 catch guy this year, but I'm with you. I think he's going to be part of the offense.
And it sucks too. We talk about the fact of Josh not playing and Trubisky not being good. And the fact is a guy like Tyrell Shavers, who I think could have flashed, and there's still the last preseason game. So that's still part of it. But if he has Ben DiNucci throwing him the ball, how am I supposed to evaluate Tyrell Shavers with DiNucci out there? That's what sucks. That's where, and I thought Josh, when he was asked about how much are you rooting for your guys, those guys that are fighting for spots, and he was like, these days suck. It's not fun. Some of these guys are going to play their last football game ever. They may get another crack, another preseason, but who knows what can happen. That's where I see some of these, where I'm so frustrated with the way that Trubisky performed, because I don't know what the Bills have in some respects because of the lack of quarterback play in the few snaps that Josh took.
Yeah, no, I think that is very fair.
And I know you guys.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
you guys talked about, I know you talked a little bit about the backup position on the You Ask, We Answer by Stellar Roofing, Siding, and Windows. I know that was part of it. I'm very annoyed at the situation the Bills are in. And I know when Mitch signed, I know we talked about this, where I was like, why Mitch? And my thought is, and shout out Mike Silva. He was, we were messaging on Instagram the other day, big follower of the channel. He's out in California. We were texting. The fact he goes, what do you think about the backup quarterback situation? And I said, I'm frustrated because not that they're paying Mitch Trubisky a ton of money, but they're paying him more than what would be a 5th round pick and like developing some young player. And if the requirement to be a backup in Buffalo is to be Josh Allen's friend, which I'm fine with, there are cheaper friends and that you can spend that money elsewhere. Like if
Kyle
that's
Allen.
well, Kyle Allen got a decent contract, I think, too. But like Matt Barkley knows the system and he would have to be cheaper than Trubisky. And if that's not what you want, like, I know it's only a couple $1 million here and there, but like if we're sitting here going, they need a wide receiver, they need something else here. Mitch has no upside. You know what Mitch Trubisky is. He is a failed starter. He's been a failed spot starter. He's here because Josh and him are friends, and that's fine. And I get that. And that's so important to be a backup quarterback is the vibes in the room. But I don't like having to pay the premium of a guy that, to me, I don't see the upside.
I don't think it can be just that. Listen, the bar is lower for the backup quarterback.
Absolutely.
We're not saying he's going to step in and be a starter, play like anything near what you have for your starting quarterback. But I am concerned, and I had people push back when we did the video the other day, because I said I didn't love it when they re-signed him.
Me neither.
Only because there are other players out there in a similar vein.
Yeah.
That you say they haven't succeeded, but maybe there's more of an upside. Please. And when I say this name, but when I think of like Carson Wentz, who has had his issues, he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. They're trusting him to be the backup. I'm not saying I would have signed him. I'm saying is just because you knew Mitch and he's good in the room, which is great.
Very important.
It's important to have the right vibes. I think that's important to Josh Allen.
100%.
I don't want to think he cannot play. And we haven't had to see any backup play meaningful snaps for the Bills.
Correct.
The hope is that you never see it. Josh plays every meaningful snap. That's what you want. But I think the bar is he has been a starter. He wasn't a atrocious starter. He was okay.
He just didn't live up to the 2nd overall pick.
Right.
Which are high. Those
right.
are.
So then when you transition to backup.
But then he did nothing in Buffalo for the time he was here. And it was the rebuilding project and all those things. He did nothing. And that got him.
He never played.
He never played. But because he was there, I feel like it got him another opportunity in Pittsburgh. And then he was bad in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And if you want to say the team was bad and all of that stuff, fine. But I look at, if I have a backup quarterback, I want a guy that at least has some upside, like a Justin Fields. I know that's a rare exception, but a guy that, or even like I said, a 5th round rookie that you could say, hey, he flashed. Maybe, and you can get him into your system and those things. I think the best backup the Bills have had in years is Case Keenum, because that was what his job was.
He knew.
Was to show up, be a backup, and if you're asked to start, he started everywhere. Yeah. So, I don't know. That was just, I wanted to get the Trubisky take off my back because people were saying about, and again, he wasn't good, and I think I can't even judge the offensive line because of how poorly Mitch played.
I was going to say, I just hope we don't have to judge him because I'm concerned for that. People are going to say, well, once they keep saying it, and I say it every time, well, if Josh is out,
you're screwed.
But we're not talking about Josh for the season. We're talking about if it's 2 games, you need a guy that can go in there and win one of them. That's the goal of the backup quarterback. And right now I look and I go, I don't see it. Maybe when we do, if we have to see it, it will be different with the starters. The issue is for the backup, he sees no snaps now. Mm-hmm. Once we get,
but we saw snaps with the first team.
Yeah.
I would be easier on Mitch in my take if he was playing in the second half of games with the 3rd string offensive line.
You saw him with the starters.
He almost killed Keon.
Yeah.
I felt like he almost killed Mac Hollins. Like I was sitting there like, he's going to get, I just was sitting there going like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Listen, if they weren't dealing with the other injuries, Ben DiNucci has played a little bit in the league. I don't mind him as the third guy. I think he may stay.
He's a Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
I named another Italian third string
Why do you
Way
say
to go.
that?
I'm offended by that.
Our resident Italian didn't
Let's
like
let Jenna
that.
talk, because Mike and I just
I
just ping-ponged back and forth for like 5 minutes while we just got off our soapbox.
We talked about this in the last video as well, so I didn't feel as the need to kind of like hammer in what I had to say. But I have a question actually, Dan, for you of just like, how do the Bills make amends? Is it signing another guy? Is it bringing in someone else? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's signing somebody else. And again, maybe you've made your bed with Mitch and that's just what you're going to have. And because it's just a few weeks with the knee, is it worth moving on and things like that? But I know somebody brought up to me Ryan Tannehill. I'm just not set on a Tannehill move or anything like that. Again, I think vibes in the locker room is important. A rapport with Josh Allen is important. All of those things matter to me as the backup quarterback, but I don't know.
It's hard because the drop off is so steep. It would be hard to be Josh Allen's backup because the level of play he is. But then when you see Mitch and just how poorly it did go with the starters, it makes it that much more apparent that it's not going to be what gets the job done. Because
Mike always makes the point. We're going to judge Mitch Trubisky, but in the preseason, but if Josh goes down, he's going to be playing with the ones. We saw him with the ones.
And I'm going to give this to Mitch. In fairness, it is no game plan. You throw him out there and he's playing, and this team has not had a lot of snaps. So I would say this. Bean's got other things to worry about at the moment. My guess would be if Trubisky's going to be healthy to start the season, it ends up being Trubisky and likely DiNucci as the third guy. That would be what I would think it is. But we don't know. It's a knee. Like, I don't know. They said week to week.
Yeah, I don't know. With them signing Anthony Brown, though, that to me does say that it's a shorter term injury.
You're probably right.
Because they didn't, add someone to address.
I got a question for you. It was something I was talking on the sidelines with Dom, our friend over at
Tibbetts
at KBW in Buffalo.
Great hair.
We asked, he said, he goes, what's more likely?
Oh, gosh.
Joe Andreessen makes the 53 or Mitch Trubisky starts the season as the number 2. And that's something that before training camp, it wouldn't have even been a discussion.
Yeah, that's actually
like the undrafted invite and the, NFL quarterback that's been around for a few years. And now it's
what's more likely is probably Trubisky.
That's what I said, but it's a whole lot closer than what it was.
But I think both are going to happen.
Mike does think that Andreessen's going to be on the 53.
I think because of injuries. We'll get to Joe in a second. But yeah, I think because of injuries, he is as well.
Okay. Well, I had also, what do we know now that we didn't know before camp? I had said going into camp that I had the concerns about Connor McGovern, the snap issues. Would that be something as him transitioning to center? He used to play the position. Early on in camp, I was genuinely like, ooh, I don't know. There were concerns there for sure. But I feel like throughout the course of camp, now that we're a couple weeks in, we talked to McGovern at the end of training camp at Fisher, and he said, yeah, guys, it's like riding a bike. Like the first couple of weeks of practices, it took me a little while to get back into the swing of things, but I feel a lot more confident now in his ability and his rapport with Josh than I did before camp started. So that to me was something going in that I had as like, I want to see how this evolves, but where they're at now, I feel more confident in them as a tandem, and also where McGovern is at just in terms of the guy in center.
Yeah, I agree. I think his personality is also nothing about Mitch different.
Yeah.
I think they'll embrace that on the O-line. I think he's embraced being a center.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any question. I know, he's been there, but like that is a big move.
Yeah.
And he was successful at guard, and I think he'll be that. And I'm with you. Look, for a while, it's like, hey, they all talk about it. It's the most important thing. Like, you can't snap the ball if it doesn't work. And I think it'll come. I mean, there'll be an issue. There always is.
Yeah, it's not
no matter who it is. It won't be perfect, but yeah, I feel better about him.
I feel better in what we know now more. I think the leadership part of this, losing the captains, I'm not really concerned with.
I'm going to ask Jenna this question. So I'm going to give you more time to talk here. Somebody asked me today, how has the vibe changed on this team with Diggs being gone? He specifically mentioned Diggs. And I said to him, well, it's not just Diggs. though you can say what you want. Like Diggs was a leader on this team in a different way.
Yeah.
But no Poyer, no Hyde. I want to see what your answer is. How do you think, if it has, how is the vibes, overall vibes, which is kind of tough to judge, but just the feeling of that, what Dan's talking about, maybe leadership and the way the team is, how has it changed?
I feel like this team feels more free to me. I think there are a lot of younger guys. There's a lot of new faces. I feel like there is. We talked about on the other video about like rebuilding and stuff. I don't think it's rebuilding, but I think that there has been a retooling maybe of what this team has looked like. And so I was genuinely curious going into the season, like how will this be without so many captains? And I feel like the group collectively, it doesn't feel like there's I don't want to say heaviness, because that sounds like it was like they were being bogged down by guys like Stephon Diggs. I just feel like they seem like they're having, I don't want to say having more fun, but I just feel that you put me on the spot with this.
When you said free, I kind of winced because I didn't know necessarily free is the right word, because they're also freer because without Diggs, their expectations have dropped. Like nationally.
I don't want to just focus on Diggs.
No, I know, but I do agree. The fresh, when you say fresh, and I was talking about this and I've said it to other people, and I don't know if I've talked about it here. I think, and again, we'll finish just one more thing on Diggs, so bear with us for 30 seconds. I think it's fair to say that some players and some coaches have expiration dates. They go somewhere, it's great, it's exciting, and then they wear out their welcome. Maybe Stephon Diggs is that guy, and after 3 or 4 years, it's exhausting. They loved it when he got there. They loved the intensity, but all the other stuff. Maybe that's what it was like in Minnesota. Not that he was a cancer or a bad teammate or any of that. Maybe some guys, coaches, they come in, they have a fresh new look. Everybody loves it. They buy into it. Things get stale, and they're like, this guy sucks. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, and any of them, like, and some coaches have longer and some players have longer, but sometimes players and personalities maybe aren't meant to be at a place for 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
So that's why I say it feels fresh.
Yeah, that's why I said free too, because I feel like because there's so many new guys, there's not like, well, we did things this way and all this stuff. There's still the standard, but at the same point, that standard has kind of evolved in a way that there's so many new guys that it can be a bit more for this team, if that makes sense. They don't have to.
That's why I did not want to just focus on Diggs. Everybody loved Poyer and Hyde, but it's like you walk in the room, it's Poyer and Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys who will take more of that leadership role are guys that have been around the league. It may be a Taron Johnson. It may be a Rasul Douglas. And I'm not saying that anything in that way was bad about Poyer and Hyde, because does anybody say anything? I mean, those were those guys for the Bills, but it is a little different. And it's not like it's all kids here that have never been around. More leadership from Deion Dawkins, more leadership from, say, Dawson Knox,
Terrell Bernard,
Taron Johnson.
This is where I think it's changed. Now that gets put to the test at times. Right? Because right now it's still August. Like, I haven't played a game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's when things get tough in Kansas City last year and they came through, that maybe we'll see how this team is. But I think it's different. And I like the free, fresh, both those words. But let's see how that air feels when it gets tight.
1,000%. They haven't been tested yet.
Right.
The season hasn't started yet. But when I also said, like, they seem to be having more fun, I think maybe too, I'm just seeing personalities that I haven't seen kind of be interjected more, being more of a voice that in the past, I have not seen that.
I agree.
Guys like a Terrell Bernard, we mentioned Taron Johnson, even a Connor McGovern, like, we didn't really talk to him or get to know him or, have his input on stuff last year. Josh is still Josh Allen and he's still the guy, but I just feel like there's also a lot of undercurrents of like unselfishness. And you've heard McDermott talk about it. You've heard Joe Brady talk about it. You have heard Josh Allen talk about it. And I don't think that is coincidental, in my opinion. But I think that plays into the freshness, the freeness, all that stuff.
He's taking notes.
Well, it was
I mean, it's what they have said, not what I say.
Right. It was going back to Josh Allen and Mac Hollins on the Greenlight podcast with Chris Long.
Phenomenal podcast.
And what I thought, Mac said he stole one of Chris Long's messages to the Eagles before, and it was, he said that he spoke to the team and said the play doesn't care who makes it. The play don't care who makes it.
Yeah.
So it's just make the play.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh has also mentioned the fact of guys stepping up and freshness. And Sean McVay talked about it on Part of My Take of like, they're a team and an organization that has lost coach after coordinator after coordinator. And that freshness is good. Like that's where he said, like, it feels fresh. Like Josh talking about too, like, in your point, guys feeling more that they can be even more of themselves. Not that they weren't themselves, but there's that freeness to do it. So again, I think that blending of all of it.
There's more room for them.
Diggs took up a lot of room.
Again, not just Diggs. This is why I'm saying is because the Diggs part of it to a lot of people becomes the negative of Diggs. They forget about the positives. We know there was a lot of positives.
I mean this in Diggs is relentless.
He is.
And sometimes relentless
is exhausting.
I was literally going to say that, but
that was relentless.
Yeah.
That's what people think about.
The other thing I was going to say is
pot kettle black.
Yeah.
It is clearly Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And then another level, and then everybody else. Poyer and Hyde in Buffalo were right up there close with Josh because of what they had done. And for a time, Von Miller was in a different way just because of his history. And certainly Diggs was. Well, there's no question now. And I believe Josh Allen has responded to that. I think he's more of a vocal leader all around with the team. So I think it's different, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen. And now let's see where it goes when when everything matters.
And obviously the obvious ones of Joe Andreessen, Tyrell Shavers, like players that we came to know more at training camp. My last one, things that we've learned from training camp that we didn't already know. Jugs machines are very, very sturdy.
Tell them what you told us earlier today.
I don't think my face is right. I still think.
Well, first of all, we're going to clip that.
That's the open.
It doesn't. I don't know if it's.
Is that?
I don't know if it's a tooth. I don't know if it's a cheekbone.
What do you tooth? You're like up here.
Teeth grow all the way up. You only see the little part.
It's kind of creepy.
I had my front tooth knocked out. It looked like an ice cube. Like when I was 12 years old, my permanent tooth. Front one.
What kind of teeth do you have?
They probably run all the way up to your nose.
Yeah, that's not your cheek. You're like up here.
You're up here. He's like, I got a tooth.
But I feel it. I feel it in my mouth.
It's like your teeth come up here. You go past your eyeball.
Coming out his head. Yeah, they are tough. Those
rub
Jugs
some dirt
machines.
in it.
Yeah,
they
you'll
don't
be
move.
fine.
They don't move.
You'll be fine.
Could you imagine if
I messed up my face?
Workers'
my
comp
mouth?
though? Right?
Yeah, Connors and Ferris.
We know a guy. That is very true.
And then they're going to go, no, dude, you walked into the Jugs machine.
You're going to be like, we had you on video literally saying this. Let's talk Josh's contract because he was asked about it this week at Bills. Obviously, so many guys are getting paid. Tua. I mean, there's so many players that have pushed Josh down the list. He's now out of the top 10 in terms of salaries for a quarterback. And I felt like it was a very Josh Allen response.
Listen, everyone's going to have their day. I'm happy that everyone's getting what they're worth, right? And I think that as the game progresses and guys keep getting paid, again, the market is the market. And I've got no problem with where I'm at right now. And, I had my day a couple years ago, and I'm sure someday I'll have it again, but I think the main thing is the main thing, and that's playing football to the best of my ability, and everything else will take care of itself.
I genuinely feel like that is how Josh feels.
And I love the part when he says, and I'll probably have another day because he will.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have two more.
That's why he can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's got $250 million and he's going to get another big check.
All the quarterbacks, the top ones, they know it because teams are going to pay the quarterback. when you're at these other positions,
Analysis.
no, because when you're at these
No
other
shit.
when you're at these other positions, like the wide receivers, man, they chuck those guys quick. They hit 30 and they're ready to like,
Yeah.
so they have to get it. And they have to get as much. Josh is going to end up, I don't know how it'll all total out, with probably 4 major deals with the Bills. By the time
Including
it's
his
done.
do you include his rookie?
If you include his
That's
rookie.
fair.
Yeah.
Right. So when I say he knows it, he's great. Mahomes knows it. Burrow knows it. They know that they are going to.
They are made men.
They are made men.
I could just live off the Frito-Lay's endorsement that they have or whatever.
They have the
too.
money, but they also
That cheddar boom.
They are valuable. Yes.
Cheddar boom.
Cheddar boom money. They know that that when the time comes,
Yep.
they'll jump right back up there again and move. But it still takes, because you rarely hear a quarterback who's one of those players complaining about the deals. Like Dak's in that spot because they don't want to really come through with the money.
Yeah.
And that becomes a thing because the monies have gotten higher. It's not the case with Josh Allen.
It's the proven, it's the made men. Like I said, when you're Burrow and you've been to a Super Bowl, or you're Mahomes, or Dak is ass.
The Sean McCoy shout out.
So
but you're right.
But so Dak is trying to get the validation by
the numbers,
by a number on his contract, and not by his resume.
Tua got paid. I think to an extent, though, he probably gets more. Like Lawrence got paid. Like those guys are not Josh and Mahomes.
Nope.
Like there's a chance for Tua. This could be the last big one he ever gets.
Yeah.
So good for him. He got money. But no, that's what you're right when you say that's the way he feels. I do. Yeah, I said you're right too.
Yeah.
I do believe that's the way he feels.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to sit back and go.
Yeah, he can also feel that way because he knows that there's other money.
And he's already gotten what? He'll have made 300 million.
I mean, and now he does a lot more endorsements, which I would do the same thing, but that obviously is outside money.
Why aren't you doing them now?
Yeah.
I know. You need
She's
spokesperson.
available.
Yeah. You need a spokesperson. Let me know. There's one other thing I was going to say. My pet peeve, you've done it, is when another quarterback contract comes out and it's like, oh, Josh Allen's underpaid. Can you? It's like, yes, we know how this works.
Go off, Queen.
Every quarterback gets a little bit more money to prove that they're the guy that's like, they want more money because this guy got X amount of money. I get it. But with how time works and how contracts work, Josh Allen's number is going to continue to look smaller because other people's numbers look bigger. We don't have to keep going over it.
It's because the salary cap isn't real. And it's only gonna go up. So everybody's gonna make more money because, by the way, because there's more salary cap.
Because we're talking about like quarterbacks and the way teams work around. Can you imagine thinking the salary cap is real by some like backup linebacker? Like what kind of dipshit would think that it's about the big money and how they can manipulate it?
Yeah.
Like if you think it's real because of
a
those
couple
guys,
$1 million that they're saving on the backup linebacker.
Right. No, it's about the big guys. We just got Jenna-splained.
I see it every time and I'm like, guys, just stop the pandering.
Wait a minute. How many things do you hear men say that
also,
you don't
agree
hear
with?
Over and over again?
Also,
right?
also stop the pandering. The next contract that happens, I'm tweeting that shit out.
Well, yeah.
It's called engagement.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I get it. Look, it does numbies, but it doesn't make it any less annoying. It's like
that's half my
water
tweets.
Water is wet. Josh Allen's going to look underpaid till he gets another contract because he's really good and other guys are making more, which doesn't make sense.
So, Tom Brady never took the full amount of money,
Yeah.
I love that we're all back together.
I know, me too. Missed you guys.
Yep.
Love you guys. Should we do this?
Yes, go ahead.
Do we know what it
explain.
is?
Okay, so Dave Constantino, the gnome guy, our gnomes here that he made.
You know him, you love him.
Yeah, which are, I don't know.
I did a dad joke.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no reaction.
Sorry. I thought it was from like Elf or something.
No, it would be though. It probably
But
fits.
he sent this in for Dan. I have no idea what this is. Hopefully it's not like anthrax.
Live on the air.
I'm kidding. Live on the air.
Anthrax.
We can always take this. It was a joke.
How come when I make a joke, you don't laugh?
Because I didn't hear it.
Let's see.
I don't know what this could be.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. It's perfect.
Let's see.
It's even better than. Oh! It's a pillowcase.
It's a Brian table.
And Joe Brady? Oh, no. That's so
God.
good.
Oh, this is the best thing ever.
XOXO love Dabes. Oh, that's phenomenal,
incredible.
Dave.
That's so good.
Oh, that's so good.
Does he have an Etsy station channel?
I don't know. You know what?
Because we should, if we do know that, we'll
put
put that
link
in.
in
Yeah, we'll put
Yeah.
a link in. Dave.
That's so well done, Dave. Oh my God.
That is so
Yeah,
good.
right.
Also,
have to put-
2 great pictures to pick from.
I know.
That
Yeah.
one, and then Happy Joe Brady.
That's it.
That's really
Oh.
good.
That's awesome.
I love that. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dave. That was amazing. We'll have to put it in the studio somewhere. Find
Yeah.
a spot. We can put it near your Roma Dunze
Oh, by the way,
photo.
he looks terrible, doesn't he?
Daniel Jones?
Roma Dunze.
Yeah.
He stinks.
Yeah.
He looks terrible.
I thought you were talking about Daniel Jones.
Oh, well, that's
Poor Dave's.
Yeah, seriously.
It's Daniel Jones and Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah.
And Tyrod.
Tyrod.
No, he's with the Jets.
That's
Oh,
right.
Wrong New York
Yeah,
team. Yep.
that is right.
That's so cool.
That is great.
Yeah, we love that.
Could sleep on it.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen? How's the move going?
Good night. Good night, Dabes.
You're gonna have Shane be like,
Daddy, do you want to cuddle? No, hang on. Move is going. It's just
It's easy to move.
never doing this again. I'm dying in this house.
Well, you're doing moves and renovations, which
Yeah.
I did.
Yes.
with 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of did. They're a little older.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have to wipe any of their butts.
No.
Right. Right. Your kids were older. That was the point.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's good now. You're all settled in.
Yes.
Sort of.
Good. We're happy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wife surprised me with an office.
It's very nice. Very
In
sweet.
case we need a podcast virtually from home, we can do that.
Love it.
It's good to be
And-
back.
It is good.
And we are 10 months away from.
Oh, the wedding. I was like, what's that? Yes, we are under a year away from the wedding, which
I should
we've got a lot to do.
get my officiating license sometime soon.
Yes, Dan is officiating our wedding.
There's another thing too. People think we don't like each other. I'm officiating her wedding.
Yeah. But yes,
What a terrible decision.
At least
No.
for right now, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Mike, we might need a sub. No, I'm
God.
kidding.
Somebody did ask me and they go, "Oh, like Catalana's not doing it?" And I said he would talk too much. Jenna wants it to be a quick ceremony.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
You
All of
are-
a sudden, you're the non-talker?
Yeah.
You know why I'm here.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah. No hot takes.
I can't guarantee you that. I
Yeah,
could
no.
shoehorn a Brian Dable story in
That's it.
there.
Well, okay, wait. For the wedding, I'm working on my posture because I realize I sit like someone who would be like under a bridge all day. So if I'm trying,
Look at
folks. We're trying.
Just working
Now I'm
on
out of the
things.
frame.
Yep,
sorry.
because we frame you up knowing you're gonna slouch.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the channel, if you're watching this, we have 5 players to watch for the preseason game as we're looking at the second and thirds coming out. And then we'll all be up there together on Saturday. We'll be doing a little.
You're coming
post.
Saturday?
Let's go. We're all going.
Wow.
We're going
Oh,
to the
you
game.
didn't think all of us were going?
I didn't think Mike was working a Saturday he took off a week for the preseason.
listen,
I thought he would skip the
I
third one.
missed, by my week, I missed 2 preseason games.
Yeah.
They're waiting for me till they score a touchdown. So it's happening this week.
Yeah.
True.
Well, let's
Are you
go.
happy not scoring a touchdown?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to ask that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
From
thrilled.
Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I'm Jenna Cottrell. Thank you so much for watching. You know we appreciate it. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your fellow Bills
Wherever you listen to
family
podcasts.
friends, wherever you listen to the podcast. Also, audio podcast. Obviously, we have the YouTube channel. We have the Buffalo Plus store as well, buffaloplusstore.com. Ton of new merch out there. The Adidas shirts that we have are
Great
really
shirt.
nice. A really
Yes.
great shirt.
They run a little big.
Yeah,
So I would order a size smaller than what you normally would. If
Yeah.
you're a large, I'd order a medium. But
Yeah.
they're really nice, comfortable workout shirts or everyday shirts.
Yeah, very much a big fan.
That was the white one I was wearing in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, really good shirts. So thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris.